Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a place where ancient mythology meets modern logistical mastery on a scale that is, frankly, just hard to comprehend. We're heading high into the Seshachalam hills of Andhra Pradesh, India, to look at the Venkateswara Temple. And honestly, we aren't just going to look at the history of a building today, we're going to unpack a living, breathing phenomenon. I want you to imagine running a small metropolis, or maybe a massive modern corporation that literally never sleeps, never stops, and perfectly serves tens of thousands of people every single day. Now imagine that whole organizational marvel is fueled entirely by centuries-old faith. The scale of devotion here is truly awe-inspiring. So to really wrap our heads around it, we need to look at the numbers, the legends, and the daily operations that keep this massive engine running.
Just let this number sink in for a second. 24 million. That is the number of devotees who visit this temple annually. I mean, we're talking about an entire population, roughly the size of modern-day Australia, ascending these hills every single year just to catch a fleeting glimpse of the divine. It's easily one of the most visited religious sites on the entire planet. But it really makes you wonder, right? How does a single location handle that kind of foot traffic? And more importantly, what's driving them all up there in the first place?
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The world's busiest temple. 2. Legends of the Seven Hills. 3. Inside the Golden Sanctum. 4. Rituals and the 5 deities. And 5. Hair, wealth, and sacred sweets.
Section 1. The world's busiest temple, Kali Yuga Pratyaksha Daivam. So the deity worshipped here is Venkateswara, which is a form of Lord Vishnu. According to belief, Vishnu actually manifested here specifically to save mankind from the trials and troubles of our current modern epoch, the Kali Yuga. And to understand the modern reality of this temple, you really have to look at the massive metrics. We are seeing an average of over 87,000 visitors every single day. And the daily donations, which get dropped into this massive pot called the hundi, can reach up to 22.5 million rupees a day. That makes it one of the wealthiest religious sites in the world, for sure. Managing all this, the immense wealth, the massive crowds, the free meals, the lodgings, it's a colossal task handled by the Tirumala Tirupati Devastanams, or TDD for short. But the thing is, they aren't just hoarding gold. The TDD uses this wealth to run massive free hospitals, vast universities, and feed tens of thousands of people daily. It's basically faith-driven socialism on an unprecedented scale. But again, why do millions of people make this journey?
Section 2. Legends of the Seven Hills, the Cosmic Drama.
Well, this cosmic drama is wonderfully complex. It all starts when sage Brigu visits the heavens to test the Trinity of Gods. When he visits Vishnu, he feels ignored, and in a massive fit of rage, kicks Vishnu right in the chest. Crazy, right? Vishnu, ever calm, apologizes and actually massages the sage's foot. But his consort, goddess Lakshmi, whose traditional residence happens to be Vishnu's chest, takes this as a grave insult and leaves heaven for earth. Distraught, Vishnu takes human form as Srinivasa and follows her down, meditating in the Seshachalam hills. Eventually, Srinivasa falls in love with a princess named Padmavati, who is actually an incarnation of Lakshmi. But here's the catch. To pay for this magnificent divine wedding, Srinivasa has to take out a massive cosmic loan from Kubera, the god of wealth. So it turns out even the supreme gods of the universe aren't entirely immune to the crushing weight of wedding debt. Keep that massive loan in mind, by the way, because it's incredibly important to how the temple operates today.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the physical landscape ties directly into this mythology. The temple sits on Venkatadri, which is the 7th peak of the Seshachalam range. These 7 hills, the Saptagiri, aren't just geological formations. They're deeply sacred. They are actually believed to represent the 7 hoods of the cosmic serpent Adi Shesha, upon whom Lord Vishnu rests. So this means that every single step a pilgrim takes up these hills transforms a mere physical hike into the act of walking upon divine architecture.
Section 3. Inside the Golden Sanctum, the physical journey.
Let's move in and see how this builds. The journey into the temple is actually designed to physically mirror a spiritual progression. You're moving through increasingly sacred thresholds. You start at the Mahadwaram, the towering outer entrance. From there, you progress to the Vendi Wakuli, the silver-plated entrance. Stepping even further inside, you reach the Bangaru Wakuli, this magnificent golden entrance adorned with the avatars of Vishnu. Only by passing through these progressively precious gates do you finally reach the absolute heart of the whole shebang. And that heart is the Garbhagriha, the inner sanctum sanctorum. Here stands the 8-foot-tall main idol of Lord Venkateswara, the Mulabaram, right beneath a magnificent 3-story gold-plated dome known as the Anandanalayam. Now, what's absolutely crucial to the faith here is the profound belief that this idol is Swayambhu, meaning self-manifested. Tradition dictates that no human sculptor carved this image, and no human installed it. Think about the sheer magnetism of that concept for a second. It's this overwhelming awe of an object believed to not be made by human hands that fuels that relentless 24 million person pilgrimage year after year.
Section 4. Rituals and the 5 deities, the Panchabarams.
And this brilliantly illustrates how, according to tradition, Venkateshwara's duties are so incredibly vast that they're actually divided among 5 distinct deities, known as the Panchabarams. So you've got the main idol acting as the primary source of energy, but you also have Bhoga Srinivasa, a small silver deity who receives the daily pleasures and baths. There's a specific deity for festivals, one that represents a fearsome aspect, and incredibly, Kaluvu Srinivasa. Now, Kaluvu Srinivasa's sole job is to preside over the temple's financial and economic affairs. It's just a fascinating intersection of deep divine faith and a literal meticulous accounting, where a deity is essentially acting as the chief financial officer, actively listening to the reading of the daily balance sheets.
These 5 deities sit at the center of a strict clockwork schedule of worship. I mean, this spans from the pre-dawn awakening or Suprabhatam through sacred baths, royal feasts, and the reading of those daily financial accounts, all the way to the Ekanta Seva where the Lord is put to sleep. But what is truly staggering is the relentless nature of this schedule. This hasn't stopped for centuries. It's an unbroken operational streak that puts the world's most complex modern 24/7 supply chains to absolute shame.
Section 5. Hair, Wealth, and Secret Sweets, Logistics Born from Legends. Okay, remember that staggering cosmic loan Srinivasa took from Kubera for his wedding? So, the crucial point is, when those millions of devotees drop money into the hundi, generating millions of rupees every day, they aren't just giving blindly to charity. In their faith, they are actively participating in what is basically the ultimate ancient crowdfunding campaign. They're dropping in their micro-donations to help the Lord repay a multi-million-dollar divine wedding debt. The myth directly and continuously fuels the massive financial reality of the modern temple. Or consider the deeply intimate myth of the hair. Legend tells us that a princess named Neela Devi cut her own hair to cover a wound on Venkateshwara's head. Touched by her sacrifice, the Lord promised that devotees would offer their hair to her. Today, this myth translates into over a ton of human hair being tonsured every single day. Literally a ton. The temple employs massive armies of barbers, processes this hair, and sells it on the international market. And those substantial profits don't just disappear, they go right back into funding the region's infrastructure, sustaining free schools, building roads, and supporting local orphanages. And we absolutely cannot ignore the food. To feed the tens of thousands of daily visitors, the temple runs culinary operations on a staggering industrial scale. The most famous outcome is the Tirupati Laddu, a sacred sweet given as an offering. Hundreds of thousands of these laddus are meticulously rolled every single day just to meet the overwhelming demand. It holds such a unique cultural significance that it's actually protected by a geographical indication, or GI tag. That's exactly like champagne from France, but for a sacred sweet. Which brings us to our final thought. When you look at the Venkateshwara temple, you aren't just looking at beautiful architecture or ancient history. You're witnessing a place where a story about a divine wedding loan and a princess's sacrificed hair directly power a modern administrative titan, one that manages millions of dollars, feeds thousands of people, and processes a ton of human hair every single day. So, what does this all mean? It really leaves us wondering, in our hyper-rational, data-driven world, is the most powerful operational force on Earth still simply belief? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the incredible structures that shape our world.